Welcome back to Hey Kentucky. April is Child Abuse Awareness Month, and sometimes we forget about foster kids being part of that most vulnerable part of our population, but the number continues to grow, and the COVID-19 situation is not making it any better. I want to welcome in James Acquisto from SAFI. They help find foster families for kids. Thank you, James, for being on with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
I want to ask you about if someone's considering foster parenting, now is still a good time because you can do most all of your trainings virtually.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is something I think people don't or may have a misconception about, that we've stopped, doing our business. But it's actually the opposite. We are able to continue training with our current foster parents as well as people we have in process through Skype and other virtual platforms. So it's actually picked up, and we've been busier, surprisingly, with our group of people in process. So we've moved everything online, virtual settings. People are able to do the trainings within their own home, at their own convenience. So it's actually been surprisingly busy these last few weeks. Yeah.
Well, that is good news, because I think some people forget that a lot of times schools are a refuge for some of these children, and teachers are often the ones who may notice signs of abuse or neglect and report that. And with no school being in, the number of abuse and neglect cases is on the increase.
You are absolutely right. And that is something that I didn't realize. My treatment director mentioned that. She said, we need to be prepared for kids to be removed from their homes at a higher rate after all of this, because like you said, they don't have any other interaction. They are stuck at home, and parents are stuck at home, some parents at least. So yes, absolutely. Abuse and neglect could be picking up more, which means, kids need foster care agencies more now than ever. And they also need foster parents, which is one of my responsibilities, is to recruit foster parents and let people know about the need for foster parents. So yes, there is it's been busier around SAFI as a foster care agency. Absolutely.
One of my friends actually did a virtual adoption this week. So that is also something that is now being done.
Yeah, that's surprising, because again, you wouldn't think that. You just kind of think that everything has stopped, and that, kids have stopped being removed, and foster parents have stopped being foster parents. But, I can't emphasize enough how it's the exact opposite. And like you said, with the adoption, they are figuring out how to operate on a virtual setting, because abuse doesn't stop, neglect doesn't stop. These kids are still going to be removed, and they still need a safe place to be. So they are figuring it out, how to operate online, how to do our jobs, in a virtual setting. So,
James, what's the best way if someone is interested in fostering a child, whether it just be temporarily or to adopt? What's the best way for people to go about doing that?
yeah, I think the first step is often viewed as kind of the hardest thing to do. Reach out because you don't know where to reach out, or if you will be pressured into going through the process. But that's why I'm here as a foster parent recruiter at SAFI. My job is to ease people through the process, and really just I'm here to answer questions and to give information. But there are several ways to reach out to us. We are online. SAFI.org is our website. You can get so much information there. There is a link to request more information, which comes straight to me, and I will reach out within 24 hours. We are on Facebook, SAFI of KY. You see signs everywhere. We have, you can call our office. You can drop in our office. Not now, obviously, but when under normal circumstances, just don't hesitate to reach out. That is, that would be my biggest fear, but I can't stress enough how there are no strings attached. I'm here pretty much at the disposal of the public, to give information and to answer questions. So I encourage you to anyone out there to take that step and not be afraid to reach out.
There are some other great organizations, including CASA of Lexington, and then, of course, the state itself, which has guardianship over all foster care kids. And there are nearly 10,000 of them in our state right now waiting for homes.
Yes, that number has been increasing steadily, and yes, it is approaching 10,000. There is definitely a need now more than ever. Yes.
James, thank you so much. Safi.org if you have any more questions for James, if you can open up your heart at this time. Thanks for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
More Hey Kentucky right after this. Hey Kentucky, welcome back. Time to talk more topics now, and the list of cancellations is only growing for 2020. Today, the PGA announced the rescheduling of this year's Barbasol Championship in Jessamine County for July of 2021. Meanwhile, organizers of Louisville's Forecastle Music Festival have officially canceled it for 2020. Keith, such a bummer about the Barbasol.
It's supposed to be the third year for them, and they were so excited because, there was a chance that they had already canceled the British Open. Hey, maybe they'd have a full loaded field. But then when the PGA started redoing things, they decided the Memorial, which has been around for quite a while longer, is be the one that would take over that time slot.
All right, the coronavirus outbreak has created big changes in Kentucky's criminal justice system. Criminal and civil dockets are for the most part on hold, at least through May. And the state Supreme Court has ruled that people arrested for nonviolent and non-sexual crimes through May 31st will be released. Keith, this one kind of worries me a little bit. I understand why, but geez, it's almost like saying you can go steal something and there will be zero consequences.
I'm hoping these are the people that are just like very, very minimal offenders and that are getting out. They definitely are having somebody watch them, that's for sure, and they've got to call in and check in with somebody.
Okay, good. All right, health officials in Bowling Green have made an unusual agreement in response to the pandemic. The health department will now share with first responders the addresses of patients who have tested positive for COVID-19 in the event that police, fire, or EMS crews have to respond to an emergency at one of those locations. Keith, good idea, bad idea?
Great idea. I love it because now they know heading in what they're looking at.